I recently attended a discussion in our department where the faculty, the staff, and the students gathered, especially graduate students. One of the key points that came up out of this discussion was that the success of a student depends on the supervisor. Not totally, but to a great extent. More meaningfully, we can say that certain students have been successful because of their supervisor, not because they did their work, but because of their guidance, support, and believing in them and the time of need. Now, while it's very easy for an instructor, a supervisor, or teacher to cater, to adjust, to deliver what the student need, it's very hard for a supervisee or a student, especially like a graduate student, to find the perfect supervisor or the best matching supervisor or the best supervisor. Hello everyone, my name is Sahitha and I'm a graduate student at Biological Systems Engineering at University of Madison. Today I'm going to share how do we build up an ideal supervisor-student relationship, or generally how to find the best supervisor. The straightforward answer is, for a student, as a student, we cannot find the best supervisor. It's not ideal, it's not realistic. But if you are lucky, or if the chances permit, if there's an opportunity, you might meet a really good supervisor. But in a real world scenario, though we cannot find the best supervisor, we still can make a student supervisor relationship or supervisor supervisor relationship very productive, effective, and a friendly and a beneficial one for both, a mutual benefit. So let's see, I have gathered some points here to help you to and to bring about to you, so that you could also use it in your supervisor relationship to make it the best you had. The first thing, like in any other relationship, is communication. So communication is ideal. There should be an ideal communication channel. It has to be very proactive. For an example, we have seen many cases around the internet, on the internet, that towards the graduate journey, students have been lost. So one main thing that I see in most cases, even if you are a student or a supervisee, is that lack of communication. Due to many problems, you might not face your supervisor or talk to them, speak to them, email them directly or proactively. I understand there can be various different situations where you don't feel like doing so, but I want to emphasize that. And I think that it's very important that you build a clear communication channel. For an example, if you could, you can ask for regular checkups. Now, in our research group, we have regular checkups. Though sometimes we don't like regular checkups, I feel it's very important because I get very constructive feedback, especially from the supervisor, and I can build a communication channel where I see him most often. Though it's friendly, non-friendly, depending on the situation, or it might be not very smooth always, but still it's very important to make the journey together and to achieve the academic and the other career or research goals that you pursue. So first thing is building up a clear communication. You can lay out a framework, know your research goals, know your objectives, talk them out very clearly, which is also needed from a student. And you can also set up regular checkings, meeting times. It can be as a group or individually. It can be weekly or bi-weekly. Weekly is very ideal because you keep up to date and discuss your mistakes, drawbacks, your progress with your supervisor. Next, and more importantly, we all are humans. So it's us who should work out. It's on us to work out the ideal scenario of or work towards a better relationship. So understanding the style and to a certain degree adapting to the supervisor's style is needed. Now this is not just merely metamorphing yourself or just completely switching on or just changing whatever you have developed. It is not that. But we can understand why the supervisor is in a higher rank or a position than us. It's because he has traveled the journey that we intend to travel. He has come across many obstacles, challenges. His expertise, knowledge, and experience is at a higher level than us. So he have built up a certain style to get these goals achieved. So in a way, sometimes you, even in your letters of agreement, there are clauses which says we have to respect the research traditions, research styles of the supervisor. I have seen that. So what does it mean is that in order to build this student-supervisor relationship and for it to be mutually beneficial, you have to have a coherent understanding and an adoption towards a style. So then only this work or the flow can flow smoothly in order to achieve the goals you need. So not only in a student-supervisor relationship, in any other teamwork where you work with somebody else, especially a human, there's a certain degree of understanding and adaptation that you have to develop, which is also a great quality that you can cultivate in this very competitive environment. Rather than the technical skills, these skills are also needed for your academic journey, career to be successful, the way I feel. Next is building up or cultivating a mutual respect and a trust. So now for an example, if you're constantly missing your deadlines, if you're skipping work, or if you're purposely making a lot of mistakes and not talking them through, the trust that the supervisor have in you would be tarnished. So it's a bad thing. We all make mistakes and sometimes it's hard to keep up with the deadlines. But again, going back to our first point, if we regularly meet the supervisor, you can update him about the progress and you can update and tell him what or her what you are doing and how you are doing everything, so he understands because he knows what you are doing. And the other thing, it's also good to document your work and present it or show it, so he respects your work that you are doing, and when he respond accordingly, you will also build a trust. So that trust and the respect is needed in the relationship. So this is very important when addressing conflicts and disagreements. Otherwise, this relationship can fall apart, which eventually is disastrous, disadvantageous to the student. Next, once again, another important point is to create a feedback loop, a feedback system. Now, this also links to our previous points of getting constructive feedback. Now, feedback is so important. I recently saw a tragic video where I don't know whether it's real or fake, but I saw it had gained a big momentum on the internet, where a student, a PhD student, was complaining that he had worked on certain academic papers for an year, but later they were rejected or they were asked to change abruptly by his supervisor. So one red flag here, and a question that any sensible person, a person who understands the matter, would be, how did you work an year without getting feedback from your supervisor? So in my situation, it's highly unlikely. I cannot think, because we have regular feedback, so we bounce back our ideas with the research group members and the supervisor. So it's very hard to work in an isolated environment. I understand there are very small research groups. Sometimes you might be working individually, but still I feel it's the duty or the responsibility to a part of the student to get feedback. A supervisor might be busy, they might have many other things or roles to play, administrative tasks, funding tasks for your projects. So it's up to us as the students or the supervisees to create an environment that we get feedback. And next, we should also self-reflect and try to understand where are we on our journey. What am I doing? Am I doing the correct thing? And if our approaches, it may be to research or it may be to general logistics. It may be in the lab, it may be in the relationship with your advisor. If the approaches are not satisfactory, if you think the approaches are not good, you have to adjust, you have to reflect and think, and then try to adjust, try to improve or find new ways. So this reflection or the self-reflection and also being flexible is important. If you try to be too rigid, once again, this relationship can fall apart. Now, the thing, ultimately, what happens is, if you try to build this strong relationship between your supervisor, it will elevate yourself. Because in most cases, the intention of the supervisor is to improve the student or the advisee. Not just personally, but also by making him contribute to the research goals. So it's multifaceted. When the relationship flourishes, the person or the student will personally develop, academically, career-wise, and intellectually, and also the student will be able to achieve the research objectives which is needed, and that's a benefit for the student. The student might be able to publish research articles, attend conference, present their research, overall finish the research or the studies that he was intended to do. And all these things, all these beneficial points will lead to the success of the student. So when we look at an overview, because these objectives were fulfilled, we see that the student is successful. And also we see that because these were achieved and the student was successful, we can interpret this as a result of the supervisor being good. But when you examine the underline, it was not that just the supervisor being good, not that he was perfect and ideal. It was because the student-supervisor relationship was maintained properly. So you have to understand the strong point here. How much the two people are good. If the relationship between the supervisor and the student is not maintained properly, the supervisor won't be a good person or the student won't be a good person. So the worth or the level to which a person is good in the student-supervisor relationship depending on how you maintain the relationship. So therefore, we should work towards maintaining the relationship. And then, last but not least, a student should try to leverage the supervisor's strength. Now, supervisors may excel in their academic knowledge, in their career ladder, even networking. So if you build up a proper relationship with your supervisor, you are also building a greater network because he is connected to many others in his status or caliber, which you will gain access to in the future. And also research-wise, especially because he knows the field well, he knows the area well, you can always leverage his strength, his expertise by asking questions, seeking feedback, maybe even getting suggestions. So once again, going back to the first point, if you can constantly, regularly meet and do check-ins, all these things could be done easily because you are talking to the supervisor. So to conclude the video, dear friends, if you were there till the end, I would like to tell you, ideal or the best supervisor always depend on the relationship, and we should look at the problem in a very realistic way, with a realistic perspective. This best supervisor student relationship will enhance, empower the student, especially the student, and it will be an ultimate source of success for the student. So try to reflect on your student supervisor relationship. Try to make it good as much as you can, which will ultimately help you, and you will comment at the end that this person was the best supervisor that you had. So thank you so much for being. I hope this video helped you. If so, please leave some comment of what you feel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.